Welcome to Street Beat. I'm your host, Carol Cain. Today we're joined by our favorite teachers, the Hall siblings, Renee, LaTanya, and Frank, to discuss etiquette, turning your dreams into reality, career planning, and planning for college. Up first is Renee, who has some helpful tips on etiquette.
Hello, and welcome to Street Beat. I'm Renee Hall. As any educator will tell you, etiquette in the classroom and in everyday life is not only necessary, it is important. As educators, we understand the importance of beginning each school year with a foundation of manners and etiquette. Today, joining me are my siblings, LaTanya and Frank. Welcome.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks for coming. I want to start just by getting a clear understanding. LaTanya, what would you define as etiquette?
You know, etiquette basically is responding to or behaving properly at any given time, at any given situation.
I would agree, Frank. What do you think about that? What's etiquette?
And also, it's a way to communicate your thoughts without losing your temper.
Very good. And you know what's interesting about that is, as educators, we know for stressing this with parents, we really want them to get involved so that they understand when they teach their children etiquette and also model that to them by explaining why it's important, it becomes a way of life. It's not just something that they're doing because they feel they have to do it.
Absolutely.
That's true. And you know, that takes me to a memory. Wow, when we were little, you were 5 years old, I was 4. You were in Babyland, Frank. You weren't here yet.
I wasn't
But
there.
I remember we met a friend of our grandmother's, and when we were leaving, she said to us, well, it was very nice meeting you ladies. And Renee, at 5 years old, she turns around and says, and it was very nice meeting you too.
That sounds like her.
It does. And you know, again, she has watched grandmother and she's watched mother model it. And of course, I'm the little copycat, so I turn around and say, and it was nice meeting you too. But the thing is, when you have models that show the example, kids will emulate that.
That's right, and we want them to emulate the positive and the productive.
We do.
Yes.
Yes, we do. LaTanya, I want to ask you a question about etiquette. What is the benefit of parents teaching their children etiquette?
Well, you know, when parents recognize, Renee, that etiquette is important and they value it and they teach their children to value it, their kids will flourish. Kids will have a tendency to have higher self-confidence. They will feel good about themselves, even have more self-expression because they know that they're doing the right thing and they're within the boundaries that are proper according to what their parents have taught them.
That's right.
So it's really important.
It's extremely important. And Frank, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the important qualities of etiquette?
Some are make sure you have a firm handshake when you meet people, have good eye contact. You want to make sure that when you do handshakes, you don't want to slap hands. This is
so
not
no fist bumps.
No, none of that. That's inappropriate.
It's inappropriate.
You want to make sure that you communicate in the English language effectively so people have a good first impression of you.
That's right, and you know it's very important that we keep in mind that children really do need to have this reinforced over and over again. It's not something that you do once. They've got to see it so when they go into the real world, they're prepared for that.
Absolutely.
Yes, and LaTanya, I wanted to ask you, how can the academic skills connect to proper etiquette?
Well, you know, as teachers, that's so important to us. But the reading, writing, and speaking skills that kids learn in school and at home, because parents are teaching it as well, they really set the foundation for etiquette. Say, for example, if someone's trying to get into a college, it's so important that you know what those requirements are. I mean, you may need to respond to someone by email. You may need to write a letter of intent or even participate in an interview. You may be, they may be asking you questions. And when you can feel good about yourself and know that you've learned the proper way to respond to people, that's a good feeling, knowing that especially you may get a good response back.
That's right. And once again, it's all about positive reinforcement.
It is.
We want children to understand when they go into the real world, they feel confident about themselves, they're knowledgeable on what to do, and they can step forward and proceed with their dreams and their goals.
Sure.
And that's really important. Frank, I want to wrap up with you by asking you, what impact can proper etiquette have on a child's development?
Well, it helps them to be a better communicator, and it helps them to resolve life's challenges more effectively.
That is true. And once again, we're saying to parents over and over again, it's really going to be important that they help us out with that. We do our part in school, but it's going to be extremely important at home because this starts at a very early age. We
Yes.
want this to start from birth. It's not something you want to say, well, we'll start this when they get in school. The sooner you start, the better.
You know, it's interesting. When we were little, it's something that seemed to come naturally for you. Mom and Dad talk about it all the time. I really felt like I was just in a whirlwind, and when Renee did something, I would do it. So if she did something, I just figured, okay, it's the right thing to do. This is my older sister. sister, she's been taught, so I'm following what she does.
Yeah.
So we have to always remember that siblings teach each other. So it's really important that parents teach it to their oldest child because the others are watching them, just as our students are watching us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Wow, well, we're all out of time today. I want to thank you, LaTanya and Frank, for joining us.
Oh,
You're
you're welcome,
welcome.
Renee.
This has been great, and our show would not be complete without a homework assignment. Parents, invest time with your child to teach them not only good verbal skills such as thank you and please, but also have your child give 3 examples of specific situations to demonstrate proper etiquette, such as writing a thank you note, saying please, and using a greeting. We'd love to hear your experiences. To leave us a comment, please go to the Street Beat page on our website at cw50detroit.com. Remember, parents, if your child understands that proper etiquette is an important way of life, success is sure to follow. Coming up next, we're going to show you how to turn your child's dreams into reality. Street Beat will be right back in a moment.